Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, please do me a favor and subscribe. That would really help us out. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Too Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got Melissa Navia with me. So welcome, Melissa.
How's it going? Super happy to be here.
Pretty good. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Good. Because for a split second, I was like, oh, no.
I felt it. He's wondering, and you got it.
Yeah, I hesitated for just a second. Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to talk to you. And you just told me off camera, you're filming season 2 already.
Yep, we're in the middle of filming season 2. And I just keep wanting to tell everybody who's so excited. I mean, the reactions we've been getting from everyone across the board, fans, critics. I mean, the critics are fans as well, but it's just that the show is everything they wanted and more. And so I keep wanting to tell them, like, there's so much more coming. And it's such a weird space to be in. You know, you don't really get that often in our industry where, you know, before a season even comes out, you're already working on the second season. But I think it was a testament to how much the network and the studio and our producers and everybody just knew that they had just a really beautiful, hopeful hit on their hands. So
yeah. Well, we're very excited. Just from, you can see I'm a little bit of a Trek fan, a little nerdy. I'm very excited. Yeah, we're pretty excited. So I want to talk lots of Trek, but before we do, let's start here. Tell me a little bit about what got you into acting. Why did you want to become an entertainer?
Oh my goodness. So I mean, we could be here a while. I'll try to keep it short. Since I was a kid, like I really kind of I credit my dad, because my dad he would love showing me just movies. Like he would show me, and I would see all sorts of things that just kids my age weren't watching. Like I watched Laurel and Hardy, to watch things with Peter.
Love that.
Jones, which is a really big one for me. And I joke that, like, not only did I have a crush on Harrison Ford, but I also wanted to be Indiana Jones, you know? And in so many ways, I don't even think I realized just how much, like, kind of watching all this with my dad was shaping what I wanted to be in life. Like, he used to also, my dad, you know, a big fan of operas, classical music, but also operettas, like Gilbert and Sullivan. Like, I used to watch Pirates of Penzance. So just kind of all of that, like the idea that stories, you know, just touch people through generations, you know, and it connects people in a way. And I was really aware of that from a very, very young age. And then I remember the first time I was in something was probably like around Christmas. I think it was like a church pageant. And then in my school, I was like in 5th grade, and I got cast as Jesus in the Passion of the Passion play, and like I beat out all of 7th, 8th graders, and I don't think any of them were happy about it. And so that always is kind of like, I think about that. I was like, my first big role was just kind of like a big one, and then I had other roles, like I was like Peter Pan. I was the teenager in The Wizard of Oz, and I loved it. I loved being kind of center stage as well. And then I went to a high school out in Long Island, New York, that focused, it was like a regular high school, but it also had like a really wonderful musical theater program. I had a musical theater background, and that was kind of my love of acting, where it all came from. I wasn't a great dancer, but I tried my best. But I did. And then after that, you know, I'm a writer as well, so I got into writing. But after I graduated college, I decided at some point, like, I really wanted to. I love theater, but I wanted to do on-camera work, and so that's 10 plus years of my life. And so it's been an absolute grind to get to this point, but it's been worth it. And, you know, everyone looking back, like, there are people I've worked with over the last 10 years that are just like, we're not surprised at all that it's Star Trek. And I don't even understand that. I'm like, really? I'm like, because I didn't see it, but you realize that Star Trek touches everybody, like everyone is. And so that's been really beautiful, that, like, just speaking to people who I've known my whole life, and suddenly you realize you have all these Trekkies in your life, and everyone's just so excited for me. I'm excited for them because they're going to get to watch this amazing show. And so, yes, it's been a really, really, really long road, but here I am.
But here you are. But here, do you sing?
I do sing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you play an instrument?
I do. So I play the banjo, which no one ever expects.
Oh, that's a hard one to play.
Yeah. And I love the banjo. I love bluegrass. I also love the Irish banjo, which is the tenor banjo. So it's a little different. But I don't play that. I play a 5-string. And growing up, I played like the piano. I played, I went through I played the drums for a bit. I played the trumpet for a bit, but I had the piano was like, that my mom put us in lessons and that set a foundation, but the banjo is my love. I have a new banjo that I bought and I haven't even taken it out of the case because that's how crazy our filming schedule has been. And so I'm just fingers crossed that they do not have me playing. At some point, there's going to be a banjo on the Enterprise. You just watch. I'm hoping it is not this season because I'm not quite ready.
And I'll know when I see the banjo, I'll be like,
Yeah.
My wife, she's got her great grandmother's banjo. It's beautiful. And she has tried to learn to play it, but it's too hard on her fingers. I mean, was it difficult for you when you first started playing?
Yeah, it's interesting because I also I'd played a little bit of guitar. Like I can play like chords on the guitar, but I wouldn't I can't sit down and have a jam session. But the banjo I just fell in love with because I love the sound of it.
Yes.
And for some reason, picking came kind of, I feel naturally to me. And so I love guitar picking, banjo picking. And in case anybody watching doesn't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure you do. But so banjo picking, I just love doing it. But the funny thing is, I love the sound of the banjo so much that sometimes what keeps me from practicing is I just end up going down a rabbit hole of of musicians and of music that I love, and I'm just like, but their banjo is so much better than mine. And so I have to I'll cross that threshold when I'm good enough to feel like I play as well as the people that I love to listen to. So we'll get there.
I think the question is, are you going to be playing are you on some type of holodeck playing like an actual banjo, or are you going to be playing some futuristic instrument that's kind of a banjo?
Right. Or Ortegas, does she have this kind of ancient instrument that she just really loves, and everyone's just let me tell you a story about the banjo.
Yeah.
So whatever we end up doing, at some point we will get it. We will get a banjo into Strange New Worlds. I will make sure of it.
Yeah, that needs to be a priority. Yeah, that's pretty good. So my mother wanted me to tell you that she enjoyed you on Bull.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. I always go around. I'm like, Mom, where have you seen this person from? And 9 times out of 10, she has no idea.
Oh,
but she said, she's like, oh yeah, she showed up on Bull because she watches that one.
Oh my goodness. And the funny thing about Bull is that, so after I finished filming last season of Strange New Worlds and I came back to New York, and my manager was just like, all right, you have to grow your hair out now so that we can, audition for other things. And we had a back and forth about it. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, I'm really feeling this cut, which I actually got for myself a year prior to booking Star Trek. I saw this coming. And at the time too, my manager was just like, that's not going to fly. That's putting you into a bit of a box. But I was like, so what? Anyway, come back from Toronto and my manager's like, grow it out. So I'm like, all right. So I grew it out, which is still just it's a pixie cut. And when I booked Bull, the hair department reached out to me and they saw my haircut from my Instagram account. And they were like, can you do that again? For the
Did you go back and be like, see, I told you?
And he was just like, oh, he's like, imagine that. And I'm like, imagine that. But it was, they loved the haircut so much. And it worked perfectly for the role. But Bull has such a big audience that a lot of people were just like, they wanted me to come back for more episodes. That was kind of in the works. But I think the thing about being on great shows is that schedules collide.
That's right.
and then locations collide and all that good stuff. But tell your mother thank you so much, and I hope she enjoyed my character.
Yeah. Oh, she did. She did. She wouldn't. Mom does not say that she likes something if she doesn't like it.
Same with my mom. Same with my mom. Is the
highest. She tells it like it is. You might have got bless her heart, she tried. So how did the role on Star Trek come about? And did you know at the time when you were auditioning that you were going to be piloting the Enterprise?
Yes. So it was definitely, I knew that it was for Star Trek. But it was all like NDAs. It was like strictly confidential. Even my reps, and this is very rare, even my reps could not see the sides, so the audition sides. And so that would have been my manager and my agents. And the character, so my character was one of the few series regulars that the name ended up being what it was, Ortegas. And I saw on it that she was a soldier. I believe I saw, it's so funny, at the moment I can't remember. I believe I knew that she was a pilot. It definitely didn't say helmsman. But I knew that she was a combat veteran, and just the great thing about the character, it's like we have a saying, or at least I go by a saying, which is, when the right role, when the role is right, you be prepared, because when the role is right, it's going to be your role, right? So many people look at our industry and acting in Hollywood as it's all about luck, and it is and it isn't. It's like the opportunities come, but you have to be prepared. And I feel like I've been preparing for a very long time. And so this role comes along, and at that point too, I think we were auditioning like October of 2020, or at least I got the first audition notice. And at that point, I'd been doing the self-taping from like pandemic time at home, and so I'd kind of really gotten into a rhythm with my partner Brian, who passed unfortunately in December. It's a whole other story, but he was absolutely wonderful, light of my life, and he auditioned and did everything with me. And so when this role came in, like he had the camera up and the lighting up, and just the breakdown was me. It felt very me. The character's Latina, and my background's Colombian, and she's tough and funny and cocky, but not obnoxious.
Yeah,
and
she's spunky.
She's what?
She's spunky.
Yes, yeah, totally. And it's funny too, because it's like everyone's been commenting on like my smirk and like her smirk, and everyone's just like, it's just a great like hotshot pilot like smirk, like just very like very confident in herself. And I laugh because Brian like forever used to be like, you have this wonderful smirk, and I was like, what are you talking about? And he's just like, you see it on camera. And so now seeing like people I've never even met before being like, we love that smile of hers, like that's very cool. But anyway, so the role came in, the audition sides came in, and it was just like a 2-page scene, and Brian and I had to send it back to the casting directors without ever going through our reps, and then we just waited. And I was, at that point, I'd been auditioning so much I didn't even like really think about the the hugeness of the role and the opportunity. Right. Like, oh God, I'm gonna be doing this my whole life, like just auditioning and and then about 2 weeks later, I heard that I got a call back, and the second audition scene was actually the scene at the opening of episode 2 with Uhura. That was my second audition scene, and I just had a really long conversation for my callback with Akiva and Henry, our amazing showrunners. Yeah. And a few weeks later, just everything changed, and I found out I booked it, and here we are. And here we are.
Well, very sorry for your loss. I hate to hear that. Well, is that unusual? Well, you're welcome. Is that unusual to do an actual scene from the show? I've heard shows a lot of times will give you scenes that have nothing to do with.
So yeah, that does happen. That does happen a lot. But I have had, like, for Bull, for example, for some trivia for your mom. That scene was straight. That ended up being in Bull. But they definitely do change things around. There's the first audition scene has not yet materialized, if it will, in an episode ever. But it was a perfect audition scene. It was like a kind of a relationship scene between me and an alien who's a bit like just different, but also very human. And so we get to kind of have like this whole like, oh, I like you, but you drive me mad. And so like a perfect like first audition scene. And it's wonderful when the person who knows you best like sees it and he's just like, yeah, he's like, this is perfect, this is you, this is good, this is great. And so he kind of had to make the decision. And I also tell my reps this, I'm like, you guys didn't even see the audition that we sent in to casting directors. So I give it all up to Brian 100%. He's the reason that that the world now gets to meet this wonderful character, and I have the honor of playing her.
Yeah, that's a pretty good story. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, she's a little sarcastic, it's one of the, it seems like the type of person that would say a joke to kind of fill the space, when it's a little tense or a little awkward or something, that type of person to kind of throw something in there just to fill the space. And then everybody's just.
And I like it too, because you get to see this kind of back and forth between her and Spock.
Yeah.
Like Peck, and he is just such a wonderful presence on set, and so not Spock-like when he's himself. Just has a wonderful laugh, and just everything about him is great. But as Spock, he's so serious, and so everything needs to be logical and everything needs to be purposeful. And so Ortegas likes to play with him. But what I love about her and the way that they've written her is that she's not just there kind of to have like those kind of like comedic beats. Like she has, I feel like she has she's able to play the comedy because she is so good at what she does, that right. She's also play. And you're going to get to see, you saw it, I think, a bit in episode, it's funny because since we're filming season 2, like all the episodes have now kind of blurred, but you see it definitely, I think, in episodes 1 and 2, where you see the Enterprise in action, but there's definitely episodes coming up in season 1 where you're really going to see how much she values the work that she does and the responsibility that she has as the helmsman, and how much Captain Pike trusts her, her crewmates trust her, and it's mutual. It goes both ways.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think it's a difficult task for the showrunners because they've got iconic characters that they can't screw up. That right. Fans would be all over them if they screw them up. But they also have to introduce new characters that people are interested in. And that seems like a very stressful position. But everything so far, I mean, it's been terrific and pretty seamless, it seems like.
Yeah, we seem to have hit on this just kind of perfect equation. Like, nothing's ever perfect, but just the group of writers and the crew and the cast, and I keep giving just major props to the casting directors, who I never feel get quite enough credit, but Margie and Orly, and they just put together this really, really beautiful cast of people who we all genuinely like each other, and from what I hear from that comes across on screen,
absolutely.
Just in general, like when you have a set where the energy is so positive and everybody is so excited about what they're making, which it's also thanks to that fact that Star Trek is this cultural phenomenon. It's like everybody has a connection to it, but through the pandemic, while Toronto was in lockdown, like our life was the stages, and so we really all a family, and that really comes across in the episodes. But yeah, I actually I'm quite happy that I am not a legacy character. Thank you very much. I get to originate this role, and yet still, so the cool thing, as obviously is like Strange New Worlds has just this one. I was just telling someone earlier today, like it has just this wonderful connection on both like an entertainment level and also like in the world of Star Trek, where it like just kind of all these connections like through the generations. Like I had a fan the other day was on social media, was saying that like when they were younger, they would stay up until like 11:30 at night to watch Star Trek. And now he's waiting until 3 a.m. on the East Coast to watch Star Trek. But my character, the last name of Ortegas, comes from a character that Gene Roddenberry had envisioned in the original pilot, The Cage. And it was, but then it became, for whatever reason, I'm sure the reason is out there, I just don't know what it is at the moment, but it became Jose Tyler. And so as an actor, that's just a really kind of a cool thing for me, where I'm like, here was this character that was supposed to have come to fruition and didn't.
Yeah.
And way all these decades later, I am now bringing Ortegas to the screen, and that's not something I take lightly. So I'm very just thrilled to be given the opportunity to do it, and the fact that everybody so far really seems to like her, and also feels that she kind of also represents the audience in a way, you know, like I'm having as much of a blast as I hope you guys are watching.
I love that there's a connection with Roddenberry, that he actually envisioned the character and it just got changed at some point. That's neat.
Yeah. And also it shows like just so much thought has been put into everything. Like I keep telling people, I'm like, the people behind Strange New Worlds, you know, that you never see behind the scenes, you know, the writers, the producers, the executives, like they all really are passionate about the show, and they've really done their homework. And so there's little things that you might not even realize, but that they've really taken into account. And I think with this franchise and with this fandom, I think that's something that people are going to appreciate, you know, from the get-go, but more and more over time as this adventure we've begun continues.
No, it's such a good time to be a Trek fan. I mean, all the shows are really good, and they just keep putting out new ones. It's the best.
Yeah. Right? Like you can't, like even the fact, like we saw the news, was it yesterday? All the days also just are just all melding into one big day now. But I think it was yesterday, the day before, like it came out that like we were like the most in-demand show like this past week in the US. And there was people saying, you know, whoever, you know, if anybody out there was just like, oh, you know, Star Trek's not going to work anymore, they're just like, it's working.
Yeah. Seems to be doing fine. I don't know. Is there a difference in filming season 2 over season 1, where you were having to film some during the pandemic? Are you still using the same protocols, or has it eased up a little bit?
Pretty much the same protocols. Yeah, pretty much the same protocols. Like we're testing all the time. Like I think the amount that we test might have changed a bit, or the way that we're testing, but as far as I know, like every time I go to set, I test. And then, like you're not on set for a few days, like, you know, they work it out, they pick us up and they make sure we're tested. But if I may shout out the crew, who have to wear masks 24/7.
Yeah.
Like they get to take mask breaks, but we as the cast, because of makeup and hair and stuff, we have to wear shields. And I spoke to some of members of the press at the premiere about this, but it's funny because you almost don't realize it, you know, that they're wearing masks all day long, and your face, your brain creates like a face, you know. And so the last season, like we got like to the end of the season, and I'd see like, you know, people like, you know, taking their masks off, and be like, you know, it'd be like the, you know, guys that I've been seeing for months, and I was just like, you have a beard, you have a mustache.
That's not how you're supposed to look.
Right. Not at all. But now, like for the most part, like everyone is back, which is also, I think, a really wonderful sign. Like everyone's back. We have some new people too who are all great. But we all know what we kind of all look like now. And they've also now started watching the show, see what they've put together. And so in the last couple of weeks, it's just been a really exciting time on set. And I keep telling them, I'm like, this is all because of you guys. And but what they've done in order to make this incredible television show, when it comes to masking and testing and just being really super careful, you know, is just monumental. And last year we never shut down, not once. And that's still the case. We're still rocking and rolling.
Yeah, that's really good. So my day job's in a local hospital system, and we just recently got to the point where we don't have to wear masks like in meetings or in the lobbies. You still do it in the patient rooms, and it's weird. You know, you feel almost uncomfortable, like you're doing something wrong.
Right. They're like, what is? Yeah, it's I can only imagine. Or even sometimes like I'll be going somewhere, like I'll be leaving my trailer and I won't have my shield, and I'll be like walking around. I'm like, what something feels wrong, you know? Like as years ago, if like wearing a thing around my neck and a shield would have been a normal thing, and I'm like, this is, my face feels so free. But we're still trucking along. And then also the border restrictions have eased up, because last year all of us from everywhere, because we all come from States. Jess is from Australia, Chrissy and Babs are from England, and the rest of us are from the States. We couldn't even return like while we were filming because of quarantine rules. And so because that would have put a kind of a stop to production while we had to quarantine, we all just stayed in Toronto. So this time around we're able to kind of travel a little bit more, and that's kind of made us a little bit less kind of cabin fever is not as dominant.
I know when this stuff first happened, everybody was like, I can do this for a week, no big deal. And then it was a month. You're like, okay, I can do a month. And it just kept going. And by the end of it, we're like, I guess I'm going to eat.
Like new reality. And then it also is just I don't know, obviously with everything that's kind of happened in my personal life, like you don't always understand why things happen, but I do find it really, really special that a show like ours that is kind of so focused on adventure and hope and bad things happen for sure, but good things can come from it, and so it's just really beautiful that we have this show right now, and I think even when it first announced during the pandemic, like people got really excited, and the fact that it's now out in the world and it takes on a kind of a new tone, but also an old one, right? A new kind of format, new but old, in that it's we have an adventure a week, so you don't have to feel like you can't just pick up in the middle of the season if you haven't watched from the beginning. And I think fans are really responding to that. Serialized is also fantastic, but I think there's just this desire for something a bit more fun, and still done, and you're gonna get some great campiness from us. It's not a spoiler, I don't think, because you guys have all probably seen the trailers and the teasers. But all of it is grounded in what makes Star Trek, what has made Star Trek kind of so timeless, and it's also grounded in science, and it's grounded in this just desire to explore and to discover new things, and so as crazy as the last few years have been, this show has been a blessing for me, for the cast, and hopefully, I know this sounds really kind of big and crazy, but for the world. What with the response we've been getting is that people all over the world are watching it, and if they haven't gotten it yet, like in the UK and Ireland, Brian's family is from Ireland, so I have a lot of people there, but the UK and Ireland, it comes out June 22nd, and like I'm so excited for that. I'm excited for them. And then there's some other places, countries are just breaking my heart. Like they're reaching out, they're like, you're not here yet, and I'm like, I know. But I know Paramount Plus has a big plan in mind, and so everyone is just a bit patient with us. We're going to get to everybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a show that's positive and hopeful. I mean, it's exactly the type of show that we need right now. And as good or as great as streaming shows are, it's kind of nice having the weekly format where you can do the used to be shows came out once a week, so you had time to talk about them. Right. You could kind of obsess over each episode before the new one came out. And I think that's kind of nice, kind of nostalgic.
Totally right. It's almost have some, like you said, like we get to talk about it, and like have something we're looking forward to. And it kind of also slows down, like we're having a barrage of information when it comes to everything else. We get to think, and a lot of fans are creating stories around all of us that don't even exist, and we're all just like, how like wonderful is this? Like just the fans are so are just really just so gung-ho about the whole thing, and we appreciate, even if we can't reach out to anybody who watches this, just know that we're getting your messages, and we are as excited as you guys are, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Did you have to do any special training for the role? Did you have to learn martial arts, anything like that?
Sure. So I have a martial arts background,
nice.
which was helpful in Kung Fu, and just in general too. I had done some of my other roles. I had done like some stunt work and some sword fighting, and nice. So I feel like you know, when producers and writers know something about you, like, you know, they're able to kind of weave that into your character. And the writing team has been wonderful in that they really allowed all of us to inform our characters. And we were joking last year, you know, we were all like, you know, because we'd hang out and we'd all joke, we'd like, you know, they put so much trust in us. Like, what if we all got here and we were all insane? You know, like, you know, they knew nothing about us other than, you know, except for, of course, Ants and Ethan or Rebecca, who had you know, kicked off their roles in Discovery. But for the rest of us, they only knew us through Zoom. And so we kept joking, you know, if we'd shown up in Toronto and they were just like, wow, this person is unhinged. But fortunately, that was not the case. And so they form our characters so much. And so, as you guys probably saw in the initial like teaser and the trailers that came out, it's going to be some sword fighting in the future. And so I got to do some stunt work. I won't say much more than that, even though anything I say won't give away just the awesomeness of what is coming in later episodes. But I got to do some sword fighting. We all get to do some language work. I got to work on my Vulcan, and yeah. So I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, for the most part, that was kind of all the extra stuff. And then of course I've been talking about this regularly anytime someone interviews me, but like I was very concerned about how to fly the Enterprise, and I don't feel like quite as concerned as I was. And that's something else like I totally thank Brian for, like, because Brian was with me in Canada last year, but he would always say, he was just like, you know, he's like, fans are going to pay a lot of attention to this. He's like, you know, go and like, you know, be assertive and ask questions. And so I didn't want to be like that actor, you know, who's like all, you know, method, but I'm not a method actor. And I think the most method I've ever been is on the bridge. I have just been very, you know, I'm like, why does this do what you want it to do? And you have to, it's a balance, you know, because sometimes you have to get a shot and something needs to happen that maybe in my head would not be happening. But I like to have a quick conversation about it. And the graphics department was really wonderful. I had all these Zooms and calls with people, and I just became that person on the bridge. And I'm just like, all right, what kind of, you know, what is the intensity of the weapon that is hitting us? Are we getting hit by an asteroid? Are we getting hit by a meteor? Like, what is going on? From what angle are we? Just because when that happens, then I think the result ends up being really great. And we were all of us are a bit obsessive about it on the bridge, which is speaks
That's
to
good,
all of us. So yeah, that was the other thing, was learning how to fly the Enterprise, and I think I figured it out. I'm constantly learning.
did you build yourself a little fake bridge at home that you could practice on?
Oh,
You got a little cardboard bridge at home you're pushing buttons on?
didn't, but I should have. We do have an Oculus, like the VR.
Oh, yeah.
On that, like in like the home screen, like Brian set it up so that it was actually like a bridge looking out at space, which would
Nice.
be. And so like I'd go to there first before going to like my workout program, and yeah, so yeah, in terms of like panels, like I learned a lot about like nacelles and engines, and one of these days, just watch, I'm going to get my actual pilot's license so I have a little bit more credibility.
Did you go back and watch, you know, the episodes from the original series
I
to
did.
kind of get ready for this one? Yeah.
I did. And so growing up, my Star Trek was The Next Generation.
Mine
And
too.
yeah, and I still, the theme song to that, the opening with Patrick Stewart's voice, Captain Picard, is just so beautiful. It's a story within a song, which I guess is all songs, but just so well done. Like I can never not watch it once it begins. I think our theme song currently rivals it. Again, totally biased.
It's a good theme song.
Good theme song. I mean, like we were all laughing because when it finally like came out, like when it was out in the world, like we were all listening to it over and over again. Like some of us would be like, didn't you see it? Because we got cast screeners like a couple of months in advance. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, but now the whole world is listening to it and it makes it even but yeah, so The Next Generation was my childhood Star Trek. And then I went back and watched the original series. And yeah, there was like I asked Akiva and Henry, like, what do you think? I asked Brian, and you know, because Brian had been a fan of the original series, and then I have family members who are Trekkies. One of my brother-in-law Trekkie. And so I watched the original series. Brian was watching a lot of Deep Space Nine. He liked watching in the background, and I'd like come home from set and I'd be like, please, no more work. I can't. Like, who would have thought? And yeah, so I definitely, you know, kind of watched, and I read a lot about different characters and fan reactions to a point. Like, I also didn't want to have, you know, my own character kind of too much, because I wanted to make it my own. But then once we started getting cast screeners, like, I have no issue watching myself. Like, there's some actors that don't like watching themselves. That wasn't me. Like, as soon as we got the cast screeners, we got the first 2 episodes for season 1. Like, I watched it. I was like, I need to see what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm that way too. I do the same thing with the podcast. My son used to be on camera with me. Now he does all the editing, but he refused to watch himself.
Yeah, there's so many actors like that, and it's just not me. And like, including from our own cast, there's some people that they were just like, they didn't watch it all. They only watched a little bit. And I'm like, nope. I'm like, I watched it, and then I watched it again. I slowed down. I rewinded. Yeah. I checked it out, and then I came to set, and I'm like, you guys all did great. We're doing great work. Let's keep it up. But for me, it doesn't kind of alter. It doesn't like freak me out. It doesn't alter the performance in a negative way. I don't think. It just kind of, it shows me what I'm doing, what we're all doing right, and it. Especially with something like this, like, we just had nothing else to go off of, except for, of course, all of the other Star Treks. But this is its own wonderful little monster. And so yeah, so I love watching the show, which I think is, again, like, it's so wonderful to work on a show that you love watching. Like, I just got a new script for season 2, I think, this morning, and I woke up excited to read it. And I was like reading it, and I was like poring over it, and I'm like, wow, I'm in this. Like, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's pretty great. So did you go check out Anson in Doctor Strange?
I have not yet. No.
I don't want to spoil it for you then.
Yes, no, I will. It's so funny because I didn't even like, I knew one of my brother-in-law's cousin, who's also a Trekkie, and he's wonderful. I knew when I heard from them that Strange New Worlds was like the best thing. I'm like, all right, we're doing something good here. But I'd heard from him about the whole thing, and then Anson just posted about it, and so I have to check it out. But I will.
Yeah, it's pretty good. See, so that's the way you do it. If you have to do something else besides Trek, you might as well go do a Marvel movie.
There you go. There you go. And he's such a, to speak for a second about Anson, like, he's just such a like a wonderful, I want to say number 1 on the call sheet, but then we also have our number 1. But he's just a fantastic captain. And as Ortegas, and also as myself, like, it's just really great being on the bridge with him, and he's just such a great leader on set. And then also as the character. Which you really, it's just a delight to watch him and to see the way that he thinks and the way that he kind of figures out scenes along with the directors and the writers. And then Rebecca and Ethan too. Like, it was very comforting to come into a show with the 3 of them, you know, kind of already having originated these roles. Well, they did originated from other roles, but you know what I mean?
Right.
And the fact too that it was their portrayals that fans loved so much, which is the reason why the show exists. So the show exists because of them and because of the fans' reaction to them. And so the awe of that is never going to fade for me. You know, you can't take that lightly. And so stepping onto set with Anson, Rebecca, and Ethan, I know all of us just really appreciated it, and they continue to be, like, now they're friends, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And speaking of epic hair, he has got some epic hair on this.
He does.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty impressive.
I was thinking the other day we were shooting something, and I was thinking, I didn't say this aloud to him, but I was just like, I've never asked, because I've never done this with anybody, but I totally do want to, like, just kind of touch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, you know, we have a bit more time filming season 2. I'm going to ask Anson after he's gone through here, can I just, you know, just get a little, just because, I mean, it's definitely, I do think Ortegas' hair kind of is a little bit of a rival.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you know? Absolutely.
So
yeah, you hold your own.
I leave it to the fans to decide whose hair they like better. But you know what? Why? It doesn't have to be a competition. We both can just have wonderful hair.
It's just good hair.
Right, just good hair.
Just good hair.
Enterprise is good.
Well, Melissa, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time. This has been the best. I knew it would be. I was so excited to talk with you.
Oh, totally. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking for I'm going to watch this podcast too. So I'm going to
Yeah,
watch
you have to. Yeah, you have to. And then you got to let me know, where'd I screw it up?
Totally.
Constructively.
Right. Constructive criticism, I can give it.
Oh, I was supposed to mention, I mentioned my mother. My wife watched you in Dietland. She said you were good. Yeah. She loved that show.
Oh, wonderful. That was a show that was so fantastic. And we were coming back for season 2, and my character had so many places to go. And, but an experience like that, where like the season, we didn't get that season 2, when something like this show happens, where here I am shooting season 2 before season 1 even came out.
Yes.
I was like, I put in the work, but Dietland was a fantastic experience, and it's a great story that we were able to tell, and it's a book, and so people can still read more about it. But tell your wife and your mom that thank you so much for watching me, and I hope that they dig Strange New Worlds as much as you do.
Yeah, well, they won't, but at least in my wife's case, she's watching and she's enjoying.
Excellent.
Yeah, my mother, the day I get her to watch Star Trek, I don't know.
Well, you get her to watch it. I have faith that even
I'm gonna keep working on her.
Yeah, I have faith that we're gonna convert a lot of people who just have not, for whatever reason. Like, why would you not want to watch? They do exist, like your mom. So I have faith that you might get her in for an episode or 2.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep working on it. So a couple quick things before you go. Anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
So right now, it's definitely the show, and everything around it has taken up most of my time, but I am working on, it's a show. It's a work in progress, and then kind of everything that's happened in the last few months of my life has kind of changed things, but it's a one-woman show, and I'll post on my social media based on kind of my life, and I also do stand-up comedy, and so it's going to be a mix of like comedy and storytelling. And it's called Girl with Short Hair, and an essay out on the internet that I'll make sure people get links to. And I've even seen like people who've interviewed me had read it, and I'd kind of, not that I'd forgotten that it's out there, but people, it's really resonating with people, and so much too of like the fact that I've been given the opportunity to have this incredible haircut. I'm excited to kind of combine my girl with short hair with the character of Ortegas and what I'm doing on the show, but look out for more to come with that, if not in 2022, just because of everything that we're putting out for Strange New Worlds, definitely 2023, but things will be coming out soon. So Girl with Short Hair is a project that is near and dear to my heart. I'm going to talk a lot about Brian, and I think just talking about grief and about Star Trek and about life and how it's crazy and unexpected is just going to resonate with a lot of people. And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, you have to come back when you're ready to do that, so we can talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So last thing, because I know you'll tell us about that on social media. So where can we find you on social media?
Sure. So you can find me on Instagram. Instagram, my handle is MC Navia, and then Twitter, my handle is Melissa C. Navia. So my middle name is Celeste. But yeah, Instagram, Twitter are the best places to kind of reach me. And as I said, even if I can't reach out to you, like I'm a terrible texter, like people, my family text back, like you need to come knock on my door. And even when you call me, I'm just like, leave a message. But so for all the fans leaving messages and everything, like I can't get back to everybody, but I've been reading all of them. And I love everything. And that goes for the whole cast. Like we're seeing everything. I'm going to take some time in the next couple of weeks to just sit down, drink a lot of coffee, and like respond to a bunch of people. So just be prepared. That'll keep happening. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter. And we love hearing from fans, and it just makes what we do worth it. So that's where you can find me, Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah. Terrific. Any plans to do conventions?
Oh, absolutely. I look forward to meeting fans, and hopefully I can do I hear on the cruises, like all sorts of things happen.
Yeah.
So if you guys want me to do like a stand-up show, like I'll do a stand-up show, there's all sorts of things, but like the cast is everyone's so funny, and just we enjoy each other's company so much. Like, just put us up on a panel and we can just go for hours, you know? So I'm looking forward to doing conventions, especially with all of my castmates, just because like we're all looking forward to getting off the stages as much as we love them, and getting out into the world and meeting fans and
interacting.
And thanking you guys for making this possible.
Yeah, this has been terrific, and you're doing such a great job, Melissa. So thank you so much. This has been the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And just getting better. So I can't wait for you to see the rest of it.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. Okay, hold on one second. Well, how terrific was that? If you're a Star Trek fan, I hope you really enjoyed that. If you're not a Star Trek fan, I hope you really enjoyed that. She is so positive and energetic, and just it's hard not to smile listening to her. She's just terrific. Was really excited to have her on show because I'm a fan, bigger fan now. She's even better than I thought she'd be. Just terrific. And I didn't get to mention, I saw her make an appearance, and this was probably a little bit earlier in her career, but she made an appearance on The Affair and on Homeland, which were a couple of shows I watched, and I thought she was pretty good on those as well. Hope you guys enjoyed that. You know, couple of things. If you haven't yet, check out our Star Trek playlist. If you liked Melissa's interview, then definitely check out the playlist. We've got, I don't know, maybe 10 other Star Trek actors from all the different series in the playlist, and they've all just been terrific. That's one thing about the Star Trek franchise. It is loaded with just wonderful people. So definitely check that out, Star Trek playlist. And you can find all those on our YouTube channel, MeisterCon Pod. So if you would look that up, we'd appreciate that. And while you're there, hit that subscribe button, because we could really use the help there. So please do that. We'd appreciate that. Unbelievably, for me, we are closing in on our 400th episode. Probably happen in the next couple of weeks. You can see all of those audio and video on our website, meistercon.com. If we're covering anything remotely, if we're doing anything in studio, if we're, let's say, going to a convention, all of that will be on the website, meistercon.com. So definitely check that out. Until next time, thank you guys so much. Bye, everybody.